All right, welcome to the last part of the Chapter 2 lecture materials. So far, the parts 2 and 3, we were working on graphical solution procedures, that is, doing things manually at the lowest level that I talked about in week 1. Now we're going to graduate a bit, if you will, to using an Excel solution. And this is, again, using Excel as a generic tool. I mentioned last week that there are third-party applications that do this in a very pretty and effective manner where you only need to plug in the values. That's the highest level. Of course, those are the solution things like Sabre and Regal Decision Systems. But we're not going to use those. I'm going to teach you how to use Excel. Because you've got to pay for the Regal and the Sabre solutions, and they're very, very expensive enterprise class solutions. So we're going to use Excel as a generic tool so that you can understand how to use this setting things up. So I want you to make sure you have Solver enabled in your use of Excel. I hope this does not cause a challenge for too many of you. Enabling Solver is really going to be dependent on your particular version of Excel and your operating system. Mac users are going to probably face the biggest challenge. Please search on installing Excel Solver on your device to make sure you've got it set up and running. I'm going to show you on my screen what that looks like so you'll be able to see it. You've got to be able to get Solver running. It may look slightly different on everybody's given machine. If you've got problems or questions, you can take screenshots and send them to me, or please, again, search online to find install Excel Solver based on your operating system or your particular type of computer. All right, second bullet, download from the course Canvas site, forgive me, not Sakai, but there's a module 2 or week 2 modules. There is a file there called Chapter 2 par, CH2 par problem template incomplete, an Excel file. So as we work through this, I want to point out that you need to carefully manage the Excel model because I've got it all set up for you. And if you get confused or tap some keys you shouldn't have or the like, I would suggest for purposes of the tests and so on, or your practice work, that you just reinstall, download the file fresh and start from scratch. So this is built, what I'm going to give you in terms of that file, it's built to look like the template that is in our textbook for the PAR Inc. problem. It's in an appendix 2.2 on pages 89 to 93. Now there's going to be a problem like this on test number 2, and it's going to be very similar. There's going to be a homework problem also using this method, and it's going to be a practice one. So let me show you what this looks like. I will walk you through this. And here we go. So in terms of what this looks like on Excel, let me drag this over, make sure we've got this set up right. Okay, great. So this is what the file is going to look like when you download it from Canvas. And I've highlighted in colors the constraints. I've highlighted in yellow, highlighted in green the decision variables. That's here. You have to decide how many bags to produce of the standard or the deluxe. We did this manually in our part 2 of the video. And then the objective function is highlighted in green. We're trying to maximize the total profit. We had a number, what did it come out to be? 540 standard, 252 deluxe, and 76.68 for total profit. When we did the manual solution, we identified the feasible regions and we did the extreme points, and I solved for the optimal extreme point. So here's how we do this when we use Excel. It's a lot faster. We select the Data tab here. We go to Solver. This is where Solver has to be enabled. You won't see this Solver under the Data tab unless you've got Solver installed and working. So I'll select Solver. Once you have Solver installed, a dialog box that looks very similar to this, maybe not identical, but very similar, will pop up. These have already been populated by me to work for you, any particular problem. I've given you these templates. So I've got the objective function, is this a max or a min? This is a max problem. These are our variables to change that we can decide the optimal solution. These are our constraints. I will make this non-negative. I will use a simplex solution method. There are options here. We will always use simplex. And I simply click solve. I will keep this particular solution we will use some of this work later, sensitivity analysis in Chapter 3. I will keep this solution. And what have we developed here? Well, just like we solved when we did things manually, 540, 252, 7,668 is our optimal solution. Boy, isn't that a lot easier when we're doing this using Excel. So, but I need you to learn how to do this both ways, and I will be giving you, again, problems to work on in both fashion, both manual graphical solution method and the Excel computer solution method. So, looking ahead, we're going to finish Chapter 2 next week. I'm going to introduce minimization, similar in principle to max, just when we solve for a min. I'm going to introduce this notion of slack and surplus, some special cases. Test 2 on Chapter 2 will be posted in 2 weeks on Monday, June 19th. So this week we've begun Chapter 2. Next week we'll finish Chapter 2. We will also begin Chapter 3 next week. But the test for Chapter 3 is not going to be posted until 2 weeks after that, on Monday, July 3rd. All right, some practice problems. We're going to have a graded assignment. And I'm going to put answers to all of these suggested practice problems out on Canvas. Problem formulation, again, we're going to have a problem here on the test number 2. Try this. Try problem 30, try problem 36 on these pages in the textbook. Graphical solution method. Again, try problem 7, 8, 10, and 11. I'll put the answers out on Canvas, but try them on your own first. See if you can develop the answers using the approach that I outlined in our lectures here. All right, graded assignment. The first one, I'm going to put it out there. It's problem 2-15. Comes from page 70 of the text. There are 3 problems, pardon me, 3 parts of the question to answer, A, B, and C. And again, you can use this particular Excel file that I've already put out there on Canvas. Make sure you return the cells to previous values, because this problem is going to ask you to change the profit contribution for a deluxe bag and the standard bag, but change it back to the original values when answering each question. Okay? And then you're going to submit an Excel file for your answer. I'll give you separate instructions for that. All right, so that's the end of our week 2 material. I hope that that is something that you've been able to grasp. I know it's a little bit of a challenge, certainly doing it online. Feel free to write me questions, call me, text me, we'll talk on the phone. And I'm just taking it slow here in week 2. I didn't want to overload you too much. That's why I'm giving another week till we have another test. Thanks, and have a good week. Bye-bye.